when you have a 90-day pause, and obviously the markets reacted positively to that because in relative terms, that was really good news. But when you think about it, and the reason the markets went down dramatically the very next day is because you still have that inherent uncertainty because people don't know what's going to happen in 90 days or even later today. But certainly, President Trump is reserving the right to do this or to do that 90 days from now, and perhaps to take the tariffs right back to where they were. And again, that uncertainty is causing all kinds of problems. I do think that countries are going to have to think through what this means for them in terms of their economic and trade relationships. And different countries will make different decisions. I think not only China, but many or most countries in the world are now looking at the United States, including our treaty allies, our closest treaty allies, countries like Canada and the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Germany, Japan, South Korea, other Europeans, Mexico, which is not an ally, but which is a very close friend and trading partner. They themselves are beginning to, and not just beginning to, but they have concluded that the United States is simply an unreliable partner at a minimum. And if anything, an unfriendly uh, partner and an unfriendly ally in some cases, to the point where we're placing massive, or at least did place, levy massive tariffs, major tariffs on our treaty allies and our best friends, let alone China or others. So I think there is a real question as to how this is going to shake out. And it is possible that not only kind of neutral countries, but even countries that have historically been very close to the United States may end up seeing China, for all its issues and unfair practices in some cases in terms of trade, as the more predictable and reliable trade partner. China already is the number one trade partner of two-thirds of countries on the planet Earth. So I think we could see a blossoming of China's relationships with other countries. And we may see some countries cave into the United States because they're heavily dependent on the United States. The countries that cave the fastest are the ones typically that are most dependent on the United States, and they don't feel they have another option or a better alternative. But it's gonna play out over time, and I think it's going to be a bit of a mixed bag, but I do think there will be some countries will gravitate toward the country in the world that they believe is more stable and predictable at the moment, and that is China. I'll say one last thing on this. There's a narrative in Washington that somehow China seeks to overturn or overthrow or dismantle the so-called rules-based international order. That's a critique of China that you hear widely in Washington, even across the partisan aisle. But let's recognize that that critique is now coming from an administration that is talking about annexing Canada as the 51st state of the United States, talking about taking the Panama Canal back from Panama, talking about the possibility of going to war with our NATO allied Denmark in order to steal Greenland from Denmark's sovereignty so that we can create a new American territory. And while doing all of this, while saying all of this, we're blowing up the WTO and the international trading system as we've ever known it. And yet Washington is talking about China wanting to overturn the so-called rules-based international system. It's ludicrous and it damages our credibility as a nation in profound ways. And I don't know that we'll ever recover from it.